What's going on?
Lines are open. Attendance is climbing.
Let's go.
We're trying to see if my microphone is going to work.
We are almost to the summit of 2021. We are all climbing. That's right.
Yes.
No.
Still
good to see these guys, right? Brad, Ryan.
Yeah.
Senior partner, Brad Smith. We got our buddy over there, associate partner, Mr. Ryan Miller. Got the one and only B-Dubs.
Hello.
Mr. Casey Watkins, of course, Meredith Ellison over there. We're going to talk to you guys today really quick about finishing the year strong. The importance of pushing through, finishing the drill, getting over the line. We all know the opportunity right now is on the table with double ears. And for clarification, I know I've got a lot of questions this week. Our apologies, we could have made it more clear. But double ears is running from December 4th all the way through December 31st. And what does double ears actually mean? It's an opportunity for basically you to get a bonus point for every dollar you submit and a bonus point for every dollar that you get placed. And so what we do is we go back at the end of the year. We all know these are gifts. They're not grants, they're gifts. So there's no specific criteria that can ever be used to how these are awarded. But what I will say is these double ears production opportunities, it's almost like that ability to get you the extra credit to get that A++ in a very defined time that is highly influential when the founders and Palmer huddle at the end of the year. So take advantage, guys, double ears production. And you know, I'm probably not the best to explain that. You know, Palmer probably could come on here and write an essay on it for everybody, but you know,
the way I would look at the ears are, you know, it's not necessarily like everyone's on the same playing field. So the way I would look at it as a leader is I just have to make sure that I'm really paying attention during those important weeks or months where we're going to be doing things like that. You know, it's an important week or it's an important month. It's not that I get a leg up on everyone else necessarily. I will if my peers around me aren't taking it as seriously and aren't paying attention to those important double production weeks or months. So that's, but everyone is on the same playing field. So it's just, you have to pay attention to those weeks or those months, right?
Absolutely. Casey, now that I've got you on a kind of got your attention, man. I mean, knowing everything that we've got going on as a company, knowing what's going on in the industry, just the entire market, what should we as field agents and builders be focused on right now? Lots of bells and whistles, but where should my head be at right now if I'm in the field?
It's good. That's a good question. And I want, you know, Brad and Ryan and who else do we have on? Did we have
Purdy's going to try to join. I think he might not be on yet.
Want you guys thinking about this and kind of how you're getting your team prepared for not just the next few weeks finishing out the year and how important that is. We're going to talk about that on the next call too a little bit, but you know, how you're kind of intentionally leading your team and, you know, what your focus is for 2022 as a team. But, you know, I would just say that there needs to be a focus, intentional focus right now from everyone on this call, every leader that wants to kind of grab some market share that's coming our way in a very, very, very big way. More so than we've ever seen before. And we've been screaming this. And I feel like there's still 20-30% of the team and the leadership that are just kind of like, I've heard this before. And I would just encourage everyone to like snap out of that. You need to focus right now on execution. This upcoming year needs to be about execution. And what that means is quit looking at production as the barometer of how you're doing and start actually looking at, key performance indicators, those KPIs that kind of behind the scenes. We've learned so much about our business in the last couple of years. We thought we knew how predictable our business was until the last year. And we said, it's so much more predictable than we even thought. And it's caused us to get laser focused on the key metrics that really matter. And we go over those metrics with you guys sometimes, but I think just alignment with all the leadership in finishing out the year, but also in 2022, everyone needs to be the CEO of their business. And your function as a CEO should be on a weekly basis to look at the 3 to 4 to 5 key things that really matter and grow those things. And those things in order are recruiting numbers. How many new recruiting numbers am I having coming in, new code numbers on a weekly and monthly basis? And that number has to grow. You say, well, how many do I need? You need more. You just need more. You need to keep that number continuing, because with recruiting numbers, that's what feeds the beast. That's what feeds your agency, because there's always going to be churn at the bottom. There's always going to be easy in, easy out people at the bottom. You've got to feed the size of your organization the right way. And so those recruiting numbers have to go up. As a company, one of the first things we look at on our divisional meetings every single week is where are recruiting numbers, because we know that it starts right there. If that's not there and that's not continuing to grow, our company is not going to continue to grow. So everyone on this call next year needs to be weekly, sitting down with the team, figuring out what did we do last week in recruiting numbers. This idea that we're just going to keep looking at production, that's the worst metric we can look at. That's in the past. And some of you guys are going, well, I'm growing right now. That's because of what you were doing 90 days ago when you were recruiting. So recruiting first. Second thing is you've got to feed the recruits leads. So what's my leads under management? That also needs to be bumping up every single week, every single month. It's not that you're not going to have ups and downs in recruiting, but the trend line on a monthly basis needs to be going up on recruiting and on leads. And then the third thing would be around engagement. And a good barometer on engagement would be SNA growth, or how many people are getting slingshots. Because what that tells me as a leader is I've got the right amount of recruits coming in. I'm checking the growth box on the leads under management. But if I'm not getting people engaged in things like slingshot or SNA or even call attendance, and call attendance would kind of be before SNAs and slingshot. Are people actually going through, are they in the system? Are they engaging with me and the team and my huddle ups and everything we're kind of putting a target on? And if as a leader, you're not putting a target and talking a lot about SNAs, about slingshot, about all that stuff, you're not going to get engagement. And so it's recruits, it's leads under management, it's engagement. And you got to figure out what are the 3 to 4 things that we can put in the mix to measure engagement. And again, HQ, everything we're doing behind the scenes are going to help give you guys the tools to understand these KPIs for your team. But even if you don't have that dashboard clearly in front of you, these are the 3 things that I would be looking at. It's recruits, it's leads under management, and it's engagement. But I just think, an intentional focus on everyone. We have an incredible opportunity in front of us right now. And everyone needs to, as leaders, you need to start pulling the face mask in of people and saying, we got to pay attention right now. We have to execute this year, and we've got to start being CEOs. We got to start taking ownership of the metrics that matter. And we need to look at these things every single week. And we need to take ownership when our recruiting is down. Well, ZipRecruiter did this, or this happened here. Well, fix it. You're the CEO of your agency. I don't care if you have 5 people on your team. You're the CEO of your business, and you need to fix that. Figure out what it is and fix it. And if it's something that your manager can help you with, go up. And if they can't figure it out, they'll go up. And eventually it'll come up to us if we can't figure it out, and we'll get involved. But everyone needs to kind of take that ownership and fix those issues if recruiting is not gradually ticking up over the months. And then the same thing with leads under management. Why are we not getting more leads in the mix? And it may be something, and maybe you got to problem solve that stuff. As a leadership team, you got to figure out why are we not getting more lead orders? Or if we are getting lead orders, why are we not getting those lead orders filled? Is it because we don't have them in the right areas? Because we don't have enough statewide GMRs? Or is it because whatever it is, you have to problem solve? We got to start focusing and paying attention to these key metrics this year, right? That would be how I would be kind of setting up my team for the new year, is laser focus on some key things, and then figuring out how are we going to actually huddle up and hit these things first, right? And not get too carried off in personal development. I'm not saying we should not do that. I'm just saying sometimes I think there's a lack of you have to grow, you have to personally grow, but you also have to grow your business, and you have to pay attention to these things that really matter. Okay. Miller, Smith, any comments on that? And Purdy, if you, I don't see Purdy on here yet, or any of you guys kind of want to jump in on this topic before we get on.
I'll jump in first. Hey, wow. You just dropped so many nuggets. I hope everybody was paying attention and I know you even said it quick, talking about the results you're seeing now is something you did 90 days before. Like, I know we talk about typically, Casey, like it's been year over year. I've seen the best month being December, right? Families together, right? And even you got to understand, like, somebody in the family has gone through somebody else that had a tragedy. There's more stuff going around the world today. So I could tell you that I wasn't even looking at insurance. It didn't even make any sense for me, right? That I didn't understand until my dad passed. And now all of a sudden it makes sense. So, but realize that what you're doing now, it's not just this December, it's the ability to get in the conference, not using conference as the takeoff, but use that as your additional booster. Like we talk about, like what you guys are doing right now is going to have a huge effect on what that first quarter is going to look like. Huge. Yep. So we talk about like your ROI, like Casey, you talk about, what's the most ROI when what we're engaging as an agency. I could talk about one thing we talk about is, how close is your words and your actions as a leader? See, in the restaurant business, Casey, we had the front of the house and we had the back of the house. Back of the house can be messy as crap. Yep. But the front of the house has to look good. And, we get paid for the size problems that we get to deal with. So what size financial problem can you guys deal with? And if you can't deal with this size problem, then that's what we talk about, leading from the front, showing your team, going out, producing, having not a Christmas month, right? But going out and have a record-breaking month and showing everyone else that it can happen, because those additional funds, when you got ZipRecruiter and this and bad Indeed and bad this, well, I'll sit there and go, okay, contest, or I have funds and resources to make sure the momentum of the team doesn't slow down. Big time, and the problem is we go to a scarcity mindset, right? Where we go, you're fearing what's going on now, going, well, I'm seeing all these benefits now. That's because of 90 days prior. Yep. Like right now is it. Like right now is it. Like you're on the 5-yard line, and we talk about book a meeting from a meeting. Like this conference, if you haven't seen all the hires you guys have done, the structure you put in place, the technology, and you can't be excited, man, you must be completely in the wrong company. Like if this doesn't excite you, I don't know what does. But we got to focus on, is your words and your actions match? Are you guys doing those things? Are you on the huddles? Are you showing these people, even in the midst of craziness, that you're supposed to be the calm in the storm? Yep. And that gives us the ability to handle a lot of emotional weight. That's just some things, and I can rattle.
Yeah, Brad, take it away, man. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I love, man, what you're talking about, Casey, is so good. I'm not even actually sure why I was invited on the call, because I could just listen to you talk about what you're talking about for the next 30 minutes. But coincidentally, we just did a call with our team about what it means to own your business, to be the CEO of your business, to not be a victim of everything happening around you, to take ownership. And that's liberating. Like when you can say, I am where I'm at because of decisions I've made. Yep. It's my responsibility. That's liberating because that means you have complete control to turn things around. Yep. And, you know, I always look at going into the holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, I always look at it like you're running a freight train. And if you slow down and you stop momentum in the holidays, which is for some reason a tendency that people have, to get that momentum back January, February, March, it's going to affect the entire year next year. Versus keeping that momentum down, taking ownership in your business. And like you said, Ryan, if you have to run incentives or whatever the case is, but one thing around recruiting specifically, I want everyone to realize that this time of the year is when most people reflect. Like all of your contacts, warm market contacts, and cold market works great too. The cold market's doing the same thing. People are people, but the people that you're visiting around the holidays, I can promise you 95% are not happy with something in their life that you have the ability to fix with Symmetry, with this opportunity. Whether it's they don't feel like they're making enough income, maybe they don't feel like they have enough purpose, maybe they're not happy with what they do, they don't like the people they work with, whatever the case is. Maybe they want to work from home because they don't want to go out and whatever the case is. We have something that can help them. And you have an opportunity and you can get traction with warm market, Casey, so much faster than you can with cold market. Yep. So to me, the number one thing that I want my team focused on between now and February is getting people to conference. Yep. And I have the greatest chance of doing that by going to my warm market, finding out what they're not satisfied with, having a solution, say, let's try something new. We're going into the new year. Let's make new commitments. Let's change strategy a little bit. Try something you never tried before. Let's get to conference, because that's what's going to have the biggest impact in 2022. The more people you have in Denver in February. So that's what we're talking about as a team is, making that warm market list, having some accountability around it and treating it like a business, not like a hobby. Because so many people that I talk to one-on-one, they're treating this business like a hobby. When it comes to recruiting, they don't have a recruiting plan. When it comes to production, they don't have a production plan. They don't have something that every single week, this is what I'm doing. This is my schedule. These are the boxes. You always talk about, Casey, having 2 boxes, a number of interviews that you're having every week and number of appointments. Those are activities that have nothing to do with the result. It's 100% in your control. Everybody can control the activity that we know will lead to the result. So measuring those activities and having a weekly commitment around those activities, that's treating it like a business. And that's when it's going to pay like a business and not like a hobby. Hobbies cost you money. They don't make you money. So if you treat this business like a hobby, it's going to pay like a hobby. It might actually cost you money. But if you do it the right way and you do it with consistency over time, I was having this conversation yesterday with some people, even agency owners that have been here for a year. And some people lose sight of the vision. They lose sight of what's possible. And Ryan, I know you can relate to this because you and I didn't have the success that we have now before Symmetry. And man, the lifestyle, it is so much better than I could ever have even imagined.
Is it worth the sacrifice?
Oh my goodness.
And here's the thing though, Brad, you talk about warm market. Like, here's the thing. My brother Dan took a year to come on. So warm market has the fastest traction for trust, but you're not sitting here saying, hey, listen, if you got ZipRecruiter and you talked about that schedule, something I could do week in and week out, something I could do day in, day out. The whole point is the more fishing rods you have in the water, you're bound, you're going to get the number. So you're not saying, hey, do one or the other. You're saying, hey, listen, do both, do something consistent, and it reaches on schedule, because that's everything. Yep. So I love it.
Yep. I love, Brad, you brought up the word, go ahead, Casey.
No, I said, you got to pay attention to it,
Yeah, and that's actually good, because that's a good bridge, because Brad used the word focus multiple times. And you brought up something so important, Casey, about focus, right? Because focus expands. And we can choose to be intentional and either lived focused or frenetic. And And you said something that I agree with 100%, which is you can actually get distracted and frenzied by too much personal development. Now, one of our core values is obviously the relentless pursuit of personal growth. We are all about it. Our data that we just got back is showing learning and development is off the charts here. You all, in terms of our culture, love growing and developing and learning. And it is our passion, and everything that we're building behind the scenes that we're rolling out is to provide agents what they need to learn when they need to learn it. Because you don't need to get distracted by all of these shiny objects of what you can learn out there that would actually keep you from focusing on your business execution and your business results. Right. And so the good things can rob you of the results that you're after. And I couldn't agree more. Sometimes we overwhelm people with all sorts of distracting things on the front end. And we're relentlessly committed to actually saying, focus expands and you will get what you need in time, but don't set people off in all sorts of different directions that will actually keep them from the real thing. Couldn't agree more.
And what happens, and Casey, whatever happened, listen, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, guys, if you're comfortable, here's what you're going to see. John Maxwell talks about either going up or sliding down. You're not going to be able to stay stagnant. So if you're uncomfortable, good, because we need to grow. We go a lot further when we pull this thing together. So I look forward to that mess, because I know on the other side of that is just a stronger, conditioned, more fine-tuned, more focused agency. Yep. So really good stuff.
Hey, that being comfortable isn't really comfortable. I've been in that spot before too, where I feel comfortable because I'm not really paying attention. I'm not really working the way I should be. But it wasn't comfortable. The result of that is never comfortable. So I would rather do the work. I'd rather pay attention, because it's not that uncomfortable to pay attention for the upside of the impact that happens in other people's lives around me. And that therefore, trickles up to me as well. And so I just think as everyone's kind of preparing how they're going to lead next year, what needs to be the focus? It should be that. It should be focus. It should be execution. I've had a couple word of the years rolling around in my head for next year. And I'm sure some of you other leaders have too, for the company, because we always try to choose a word based on really where we are as a company. But I just hope everyone's, paying attention. And I hope you as leaders are making sure that not just, 50% of your leaders are paying attention, but that all of your leaders are paying attention. And if someone doesn't want to, and someone doesn't want to be held to some of the metrics we were talking about, some of the kind of most important things you should be managing and always trending upward, that's fine. I'm going to start to pour resources and time and energy into the people that kind of want to pay attention and want to focus on those key things that are going to drive volume. But one thing is for sure, we're getting ready to drive some serious volume over the next 24 months as a company. And we're going to share a lot about why at conference, which is another reason why you need to be at conference, because
Casey, you on the AO call this morning, when you talk about serious volume, guys, you didn't catch it. We've had to go out and hire somebody that's in charge of group contracting.
Yep.
Not because individual agents are coming so fast, but we have literally reached the problem where groups are trying to join Quility at breakneck speed. And we've got to be able to design a system that allows 100, 200, 1,000 agents to join overnight. Get on this thing.
And guys, we truly, even what we're going to be able to share at conferences, 30% of the story. There's so much. I mean, the craziest thing I think I've ever seen in this industry, and our position and timing as a company, when we look around and kind of understand that no one's really focused on it. It's just an odd place to be in an industry this large, where you don't have 15 other competitors right by you trying to figure the same stuff out. We're truly revolutionizing and transforming this industry with the moves that we're making behind the scenes in technology and product development, and in the lead marketplace too. A lot of big stuff coming there. In fact, we're going to share a little bit about it on the call today, but just fun times. and you got to pay attention to the business right now. And, put everyone in that mindset of they are their own CEO. I think sometimes in our culture, because, mentorship is such a valuable component of our culture, people tend to take themselves off the hook and say, well, I need my mentor and it's not on me. It's on as Brad mentioned, maybe you kind of get into that victim mentality a little bit because you were brought in with the understanding that you are going to absolutely need your mentors to kind of guide you and direct you through the landmines of this business. Very true. That does not mean that you are not the CEO of your business. You are 1099. You are in charge. And we've got to start getting all the leaders on our team taking that kind of ownership in what's happening and not just saying, well, it's my mentor's fault or it's the kind of whatever the fault is. You can't play like that. It's time to start looking at those key metrics and holding yourself accountable to those and not blaming others on why you're not growing those things. But I even think that, I think that there's a percentage of our leadership that aren't even paying attention to those main numbers. And we'll take ownership of that. We'll take, we haven't been talking about it enough maybe. And again, there's been even more clarity in my brain around, wow, like this thing is so predictable. If you put the right ingredients into the bowl, into the mix, production will come out of it. And we just got to start honing in on those things and pay more attention. So that's where my brain is right now. I know you guys are on the same page with your teams, and we got a lot of exciting stuff happening all around the company with promotions. And I mean, again, just from a recruiting standpoint, as Spivey was saying, how many recruits are coming to us right now? And, you guys are getting ready to be the beneficiaries of a massive migration to this company over the next 24 months. So that's why we're talking about this right now. It's just like everyone needs to be paying attention to capitalize on it. Otherwise you kind of miss it. You miss all the migration. And I don't want anyone in that seat in our company that doesn't want to be.
Just to add on to what you're saying, one of the things that I think Matt and I did well, and that we can take credit for, because there's not really a lot that we can take credit for our success, except that we were good at listening and observing. We learned so much by watching you guys, knowing that you guys hired this multi-million-dollar consulting company, and you guys are finding these KPIs, these key performance indicators, and you're finding that if you can focus on these few little manageable things, this huge result, and not just getting excited over it, but saying, okay, what can I do in my business? Yes. So one of the things that Brian Williamson helped us with several years ago, when we had him as our business coach, is he helped us to create this scorecard of key performance indicators. And he said, if you were stranded on an island for 90 days and you wanted to have a weekly report where somebody came out and said, okay, here's a piece of paper and you know exactly what's happening in your business on that one little piece of paper, what would be on that piece of paper? What are the things that you'd want to see every week to know how your business is performing without you? And it was a really good exercise. And you just gave it to us. You said 3 things: recruiting numbers, leads under management, and engagement. You gave us a few examples. If I were one of the 1,100 people on this call, I would write that down and I'd have a meeting every single week with your key people, and I would know these numbers, because that's what I'm going to do. Absolutely 100%. These are the 3 things I'm going to look at every single week. I'm going to measure it. I'm going to set goals around it, because I know, based on what you're telling us, that if we watch these numbers and we can grow these numbers, every other part of our business is going to grow.
That's it, man.
So
it's what we're watching. It's what we're watching like a hawk every single week. And when things aren't trending the right direction in any one of those buckets, we are problem solving. We're figuring it out. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Brad. It's exactly what you need to be doing with your team.
You're not complaining about what's happening in the industry. You're not complaining about things that aren't in your control. Those are things that we do. That's called life. There's things that derail us all the time, but you're not focused on the problems. You're focused on solutions. And one thing I've noticed about you, Casey, you and Brandon and Brian and all the core team, is that you guys have gotten better and better and better at asking questions about your business. Your
Yep.
questions have gotten better and better. You're saying, how do we get better? How do we improve this? What can we do here? And you're always finding solutions and how to make things better. And that's what we need to emulate as CEOs of our own business, always asking better questions on how to grow our business. So I just love that we have you guys as mentors and examples for us in business.
And so grateful to have you guys as mentors for us and everyone else listening in too. So thank you, Ryan and Brad and everyone else who chimed in on the builders call. Brando, you on, buddy?